No. That's okay. Are you all set? Hey? Yeah, okay. All right, we have a guest speaker tonight. So, Miles, I don't know how many of you know Miles Tucker. I know you have a title and I never can remember what it is. It's important, I realize that, because when anybody needs anything, they say call Miles.
Yeah, I'm Miles Tucker. I'm the support services manager in the office of the town manager over at Town Hall.
Say that again?
I'm the support services manager and I work in the office of the town manager.
I get that part, but the support service.
You know, I quite haven't figured that out. I do a lot of work assisting Kate, everything from special projects to helping the select board run their meetings, prepare their agendas. And I'm here to talk about sort of one of those special projects related to a proposed set of articles that the select board is considering placing before the special town meeting in May that do have an impact on older residents in Needham. And I figured we want to talk to Council on Aging, explain it to you, and give the opportunity to have you all ask some questions in a public meeting, as well as just pass along my information. So if you have any questions afterwards, to pass them along before it gets to the select board. I'm helping us refine this proposal before we bring it to town meeting.
And Annie did send the proposal out to everybody by email. I don't know if everybody had a chance to see it and read it, but okay.
So thank you, Madam Chair. I'm here today to talk about a proposal, as I briefly mentioned, regarding a proposed senior and veteran property tax workout program. As some of y'all probably already know, there is a senior corps that exists right now. It's a property tax workout program where folks over 60 who own their home in Needham can volunteer up to 100 hours a year to lower their property tax effectively at the minimum wage. So what's happened since this was adopted is Massachusetts general law has provided for a more comprehensive program that's not just governed by the town, but it's governed by the general law. And it's administered and governed very similarly to an almost identical program for qualified veterans. That was passed by town meeting in 2014 and unfortunately had not been implemented due to the differences between the senior corps, the veterans program. It never got off the ground. What we're realizing now is the select board has decided to make as a goal this year to implement the VALOR Act. That's the veteran side of the program. Staff looked at this and we saw the opportunity to basically take the successes that we've had with the senior corps and the lessons we've learned and consolidate the programs administratively into one, where we could offer an identical program to both folks over 60 as well as to qualifying veterans. Some of the programmatics would change from the current senior corps, and that's what I want to talk about today. The program would be eligible, continue to be eligible for folks over 60. The veteran side of it would also be qualified to any eligible veteran of any age. Right now, the current senior corps has a income cap at $45,000 a year for a single person or $60,000 a year for a two-person household. What this program proposes is increasing that cap to 80% of area median income, AMI, 80% AMI. That is a common standard that the town uses for other affordable housing and other sort of, affordable housing programs. And right now, just for context, the 2025 AMI at 80% AMI is about $83,000 for single person households and about $95,000 for two person households. So that's over a 50% increase for both, which is good news. It means more folks would be eligible. In addition, right now it's that there's a benefit cap of $1,500 a year. The new program would cap the total number of hours one could work at 125. That's the most allowed by the general law, and tie that to the minimum wage in Massachusetts, which is the highest compensation that could be provided. So right now that would change it from $1,500 maximum cap to about $1,800 $175. So it's a higher benefit.
Mhm.
Those changes, and those numbers would be the same for the veterans program, by the way. They're, again, identical with the exception of one is for folks over 60, one is for qualified veterans. One other change is that folks who might not be able to physically perform the actual service to the town would be eligible to qualify a representative. Right now, Ted asked a good question. I presented this to a group of Native veterans earlier this week, since this is a community that this proposal would also impact positively. The question was, you know, who could be designated as a representative? The general law doesn't state. I'm trying to find out practically what that means, but there's a strong possibility. And again, I'll get back to you as well as to the council here, who exactly that could be if it's limited to anyone at all. So that's a good thing as well for seniors who might not be able to physically perform the number of hours of work, but still may qualify for the tax relief through this program. And the town would still benefit by getting that certain number of hours of work. It would just be done by someone else. So by tying the rate instead of a fixed dollar cap, but to a total number of hours that's tied to the minimum wage, as well as tying the income cap not to a static figure, but rather to a percentage of the area median income, it allows the program to be a bit more evergreen. We wouldn't have to go back to town meeting to make programmatic changes. And in fact, the income cap is something that the town could change without going to town meeting. The general law specifies what the towns have to adopt into by town meeting, and that's the delegated work to an authorized representative and the total number of hours for relief provided, but not the additional potential requirements. Some communities don't have a cap, some do have a cap, some have an asset cap. That's not something we're looking at. And ultimately, we're hoping by consolidating the two programs, which would be continue to be administered by the Council on Aging, we're hoping that we'd be able to consolidate the advertisement, the outreach, and the coordination of work to get more folks participating in this program who would wish to participate in the program. Ultimately, work would be done between November and October. Someone could start any time, but the annual certification would be done in October to allow for an abatement on the fourth quarter tax bill. Unfortunately, this program would only be available to property owners. That's the way the general law is structured. That is the way the current senior core is structured. It's not available to renters, but we think this would cover a large majority of folks over 60. And that is the bones of it. And with that, I am more than happy to answer any questions you all may have. And if I don't have the answers, I will take them down and I will through Latanya and make sure that we get any answers. That has been all today.
So what kind of work would they be doing for those 100 hours? I can see like a million, like ladies raking all through town or something. I mean, that's, or, I mean, that's 100 hours is a lot. If you have, you know, 100 people,
Yeah.
that's 1,000 hours of work you have to find.
We have, I don't know how many, if we do right now, but we've had people here
Oh, okay,
that are on the program
okay,
that.
volunteers.
Well, they're not, they're
Oh.
volunteers, but they're being paid through, you know.
The taxes.
Yes, yeah. I don't know if either
We
one of
have
you.
a lot, but a lot have passed away. We have very few now. You know, but 3 or 4.
Yeah, under 5. I mean, they function as like regular year-round volunteers, most of them, and then 100 hours of that they're on this
Doesn't apply to
program.
their taxes.
Yeah, but like, you know, they've helped in the kitchen, they've organized the library, like regular volunteer jobs here.
It's not
Yeah.
something that, it's not something that we basically announce to everybody that these people are getting
Right,
money
right,
off their
right,
taxes.
right.
I mean, it's
No,
just,
no,
they're a volunteer.
Right,
And
right.
it's, you know, it's nobody else's business.
And do they only volunteer here? Or
So far, I think in the past, other town buildings have used them, but right now it's all here. We don't have a ton of people that take advantage of it at this point.
To the point of the law here, so it would be 125 hours, so that would be increased total number of hours permitted. The work cannot be work that is done by a full-time employee of the town, so it has to be work that is not already being done by town staff or replacing town staff. It would be, in many cases, to how the council has used it before, accessory
Yeah.
and helpful, beneficial by any means, but not a primary duty of an employee. And this really could be based on the needs of individual town management, department management rather, to find work that they might need to be able to be worked on. So the council would solicit managers. I used this example with Ted when I was talking to veterans. Someone in my office, maybe I may need help scanning documents as we try and get rid of paper. That is something that I don't have a full-time employee designated to that kind of administrative work. This would be accessory to that. This could be very helpful. That's the kind of work. Work is not guaranteed. If we have suddenly 1,000 people sign up, there may not be enough work for everyone. Work would be delegated on first come, first served basis. Someone may be offered to work that they don't want to do. They will have to wait for something that they may want to do. And that's something some other communities that we've talked to, they've had issues where, you know, this is a hypothetical, for example, they need someone to paint park benches, but the person can't do that or doesn't want to do that. They want to work at the library. Well, the library needs to have room and a need for that accessory work.
And
Ted, you could probably answer this. Would this be in addition to, or could it possibly jeopardize benefits that veterans are already?
Not related or connected, or doesn't jeopardize any benefits that a veteran gets now for whatever purpose. All that income is separate, doesn't fall into this category.
Thank you.
Yeah.
May I ask a question?
of course,
Is this going to be facilitated by the VSO?
So the West Suburban Veterans District would play a part, but only in validating the veterans' eligibility for the program.
Okay.
So that would be just one additional step for those trying to work through the veterans program.
Thank you very much.
and
Could somebody be like a home health aide to somebody?
Not through us, like we
Yeah.
couldn't, because they're working for us technically and we don't offer, we
You
couldn't
don't
offer
offer
that,
that.
yeah.
Well, could the home health aide do the work of the person that can't do it? Oh, that's what they're trying to figure out. They don't know that yet.
so, publicity for this program, or, you know, once it's passed, how do you get the word out to people over 60 that if the program is available?
So we would have to work hand in hand, and we plan to work hand in hand with the council on our, the Department of the Aging Services Division, excuse me, to publicize that alongside our town's director of communications as well. Just try and get it as wide as possible. I mean, it's a great benefit that, you know, we're hoping to provide, you know, the town a benefit as well as the community.
I mean, it should be on the sign at the dump. It should be on Facebook. Do you want to?
No,
Actually,
you
want too
don't,
much.
no,
You
but
don't
it
wanna-
certainly could go out with tax bills.
That's
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
thought
that's a
was. I
good
think that,
Put it out.
If they get to the right house.
I thought that was.
That's another
A little
Quick
memo.
question,
along with
Miles,
the
you might have
tax.
addressed this. Is there an income cap for veterans or is the income just for over 60?
Right now, the proposal is that 80% AMI would apply to both programs to keep them standard.
Okay, and we would be responsible for verifying the income through the application or like
So-
collecting that info and it would go to,
We would be collecting the W-9 from everyone as
Okay.
well. Taxes on this program, federal taxes would be taken out as well as the FICA, the Medicare, Social Security. State taxes would not be applied. The state has a carve out for that, but and that maximum amount is the maximum gross amount. So if someone worked 125 hours at the minimum wage, they would not get that full $1,850 off. They would get that minus federal taxes. And the town would be contributing the employer side of that.
And
I would like to see it widely communicated. I don't know the best means, perhaps with a little insert along with the tax bill. And you might just take 4 or 5 lines to explain the criteria.
I appreciate the feedback.
So everyone will get a W-2.
Yes, participants would receive a W-2.
Yeah, I asked the question, you obviously are gonna have veterans combined with the seniors. Income requirement is the same for both, basically. Has the town even considered what other towns have done and incorporated relative to that aspect where I know I passed along town examples to our previous VSO, 2000, few years ago when TJ was in the office. He created a package, passed it along to the town, but I had a couple of examples. That's only a couple that I had. I'm sure that there are more. Other towns have adopted this program. They have it for seniors and they have it for veterans. If you eyeball some of those examples, it's like a 2-page document, asks you all kind of things, what you may want to be doing and everything. There is no income and asset requirement for the veteran. There is for the seniors. You know, when you think about it, take me, for instance. Wintertime, I'm not playing golf. I'm not a golf player. Summertime, I wouldn't be playing golf. I could take a whole day, come to your office, scan documents, help you out probably enormously, even work a little longer than an 8-hour day. When I was working, I used to work 7/12s, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, 44 hours a week overtime. But nevertheless, if I wanted to volunteer for your program to help you out in whatever way you would like, I wouldn't qualify. I'd have the time, I'd have the energy, so far anyway, but I'd have the time to be able to, you know, dedicate it to you specifically or anybody else in the town. In some administrative capacity, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to climb up, you know, 25, 30-foot step ladders and do its things, but those other kind of tasks, I wouldn't be able to qualify, even though I would have the time and the desire, because I would be, you know, I wouldn't be exempt from that aspect of the income limits. Whereas some other towns, I mean, if I sold my house here and moved to Ludlow, I wouldn't have a problem. Okay, where I used to be born and brought up. As a matter of fact, that town is one of those that I had as an example. So I asked that question, and I guess I would ask whoever put this together in the town or thought about it. I understand that there is the Valor Act, but there's also Brave Act 1 and 2, and there's also the latest one from the Healy, the Governor Healy signed, which I will say, from what I've already seen and took advantage of, one of those items is available in the town right now, but it's because the town already had a form in there for other purposes. So you can use it as a dual thing for a veteran as well as a regular person, regular citizen. I would ask the question, and you pass it along, has the town considered copying or following the suggestions that other towns have been doing for years, not recently, for years? These people here now are just starting to think about that and incorporate it, which is a good thing, at least they're thinking about it. And has anybody along the way seen as how this program is being implemented or going to be implemented? You start thinking about the forms that you're going to be creating. I know that the one for the seniors is multi-page. From the other towns, because there are no income and asset requirements for veterans, it's only a lousy 2-page form, you know. But so that's the kind of a thing that I'm thinking. You know, it seems as though, yeah, it's a great thing to move forward, but it's kind of restrictive, even if people want to volunteer.
Yeah, so, I mean, I understand that comment. I know you brought that up the other day as well, and it's a valid point. As I mentioned in that meeting as well, you know, the staff who worked to put this together did look at the other communities, and so just to be clear, there's no consideration of an asset cap. We understand that a lot of folks' homes is their primary asset, but their income may not match that at all. We understand that's a very, unfortunately, common phenomenon. So the asset cap's not on the table. When it comes to the income cap, that is something we also discussed. There were varying staff opinions, and when we bring this to the select board, we're also going to let them know that, you know, this was the topic of our probably the most conversation as well. I know they'd be interested to possibly have that discussion as well. I would think they would if that's something they want to take up.
Because, you know, you talk about for veterans because you lowered it to the point where the veteran doesn't have to be a senior to apply, which is a good thing. But when you really think about it, unless you're retired or somebody like that, or you work nights and you have time to volunteer during the day as a younger person, they'd be available. Otherwise, they're working a 5-day week, 8 hours a day. When are they gonna come to you? On a Saturday and Sunday? The town is closed then. So it kind of limits their participation, even though that consideration is there for having them there.
Like with any program,
Yeah.
we're not gonna get 100%
Oh, of
of
course.
folks who are eligible
Yeah.
to do this just due to any nature of life circumstance, or, I think in many cases, frankly, this is 125 hours maximum work, and it's at the minimum wage. There's a lot of folks out there,
Yeah.
$1,800 is a lot of money, and there's other folks in town where this just may not be the program for them because they want to use their time in a different manner, and that's great too. And that in and of itself is, a potential factor that limits the total number of folks who may want to enroll in this program in the first place, which balances out what are the tools we want to use to make sure we get the target enrollment we're looking for. One other note is that this isn't funded by warrant article, this is paid out of overlay as well. So that's a more relatively consistent funding source.
Do you think that if they implemented this program, they would watch it from year to year to see who and how many people can take part of the program? Maybe thinking about changing some of the requirements that you're using now as criteria?
So I would say the proposal,
Mhm.
I can say specifically to the proposed income cap is significantly higher than the current cap for the senior corps. And like with any program, we absolutely monitor expenditures out of whether it's a warrant article or overlay. Our finance team is, as I know our full-time staff here know quite well, on top of it, to say the least.
Okay. Yes, of course.
So in the current senior corps, where do people work around town? They're not here in the COA, or else do they go through it?
Right now, just here.
Just here.
Okay. Let me ask them this.
Yeah. And that's not because we're the only people that offer it. It's because nobody else seems to have the capability, although I don't know why a place like the library or, that type of
Of the school.
So that's a great point. There's, prior to the pandemic, I spoke pretty in depth with the administrator of this program in Lincoln, which manages a combined program. And before the pandemic, their senior tax workout program, they had 50 volunteers in the schools. Since the pandemic, it's been a lot less. All that to say, it appears to be legal to do that. And I think a great opportunity in not reforming this program, but really introducing a new program that has an expanded scope and benefit, gives us as town staff an opportunity to market this program in a new way. It's rejuvenated, it's a expanded benefit. It's something that we can offer not just folks over 60, but veterans of any age who qualify. And I think we see this as an opportunity to talk to other managers to say, hey, we have work that you can use. Again, without the promise of saying, because we could do this and we could roll this out and we could get 7 volunteers.
Right.
And
Right.
Just saying, hey, is the work out there, without the promise of the manager saying, hey, you're gonna have a bunch of folks. Because we don't know. And what's great about the Mass General Law that governs these two programs is, with a few exceptions, the ability to delegate additional work and the cap of hours, which we would be recommending town meeting both incorporate as local options through the warrant article. There's a lot of discretion over how we can target and shift this program, whether that be with something like an income cap, because if we have 1,000 folks and they all make over $1 million a year, then we may want to have an income cap. That's obviously a hypothetical situation, but it gives municipalities a lot of flexibility in terms of how we can administer.
Are there other organizations, like the schools and the library and stuff that you're talking to about this program and the possibilities of the usage by them of
So in talking,
volunteers?
not directly with other departments, we don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we have a program in place before we start asking folks to dedicate time to thinking about how they may want to do it. Our staffing so far has been with Latanya. I know Tim and his team have been engaged in that as well.
Jim,
Um,
and
mhm. And we've been talking about the folks who'd be really primarily administering this program, making sure that we have the nuts and bolts, right? And then hopefully town meeting can approve these warrant articles, we can get the AG to sign off on them, and we can start planning to actually get this out there.
Will the community council be part of that program, or are they just a separate entity that would not fall under the jurisdiction of the town?
Yeah, they're
Payroll,
not, they're
so
a
to speak.
nonprofit.
Right,
Folks in this program would be in enough cases to be meaningful, be town employees.
Right. so Tanya, did you have a question?
I was gonna ask, in terms of this program, is there a cap on the amount of participants?
No,
Because I'm
There
thinking
could be a-
about workload and,
yeah, there could be a cap on the number of work opportunities. It could be that there's simply not enough qualifying work opportunities in town. It could be that if we have a real lot of participation, we could run up against available funds. Based on current enrollment, we're not really expecting that, at least at the beginning. And if, we can tailor it down to, do things like an income cap. If we are having too much enrollment, we could scope that down to try and really target the folks who those dollars would be very, very meaningful. Again, not that they're not meaningful to anyone, but make sure we're hitting the folks most at need. But being funded by the overlay, at least with current trends, we wouldn't anticipate that being a factor, at least at this point in time, based on current law.
Anybody else? Jess?
That's a great point, Latanya. I'm just also thinking if it's gonna be continued to be implemented out of the COA, is the town sort of expecting that we'll supervise and place all of those people? I just want to be mindful if there is that influx of people apply, that the infrastructure is set up with other town departments to actually take them, because, volunteers we run on volunteers, they're a huge asset, but it takes time to onboard, it takes time to collect the paperwork, the timesheets. It takes a lot of time for our admin, Annie and Latanya as well, so I just want to make sure that's part of the conversation, that we have the capacity to actually
Absolutely. And
manage it.
The idea
Yeah.
would that be the administrator would be able to reach out to managers in town, say, do you have work available? Sort of get an inventory of the available work.
Yeah,
The managers in those specific departments would be the folks responsible for signing folks in, taking hours, certifying hours, and at the end of the year would be submitting here's the total number of hours that were worked. They sign, the employee signs, and he would chalk those together and send them to our accounting team, who would then basically build out the paychecks. There would now actually be cash or checks exchanged with the folks who are working. It would just be a check built out by our treasurer's office, sent to the assessors.
To get back to where people could work, if they were working in the schools or in the libraries, can they work with the children, or do they just have to do manual stuff for them?
That's a great question that I don't feel comfortable answering. No, but I can get back to you.
Because there could be
Everyone
people,
has to be for each
people
other.
who could
tutor.
be tutoring and
Yeah.
working with the children.
That's a great question. I'd love to find an answer and get back to you.
Ian?
2 points. One, could you expand upon the effect of the funding? It's funded through overlay.
Yeah.
If my memory is correct, that can be quite varied year by year. You could have an overlay, 3 times greater one year than another year. And could you expand upon how that would, play out? I know it's not all thought out, but have you given any thought?
So
That might
I think at least
affect the continuation of the program.
my understanding is that at least at the start, the historical overlay that we've had should not be a factor. It's significant enough to cover the likely enrollment in this program. And I do not want to speak beyond that. As I wish I was smart enough to expand upon it, but I'm not, and I'm happy to get back to you about if there are significant changes to the overlay, what that looks like, and how that would impact folks who may be working and then suddenly there's not funds, so again, I would not anticipate that being something that occurs at least in the early years of this program with the historical enrollment that we had.
And to piggyback on Ann Cosgrove, in years past, grandparents and not only grandparents, but other people interested in working as readers, as tutors with the schools. And in fact, some companies, local companies, would incentivize their employees to spend hours doing that kind of service. It was very, very successful. I personally know individuals who did that, both here in Needham, more so in the city schools in Boston. And I would strongly urge us to consider doing more of that type. I know that there may be some things you have to work out, like a Cory form, or making sure that they go through that process. But I think it's invaluable to both tutor, the reader, and the student. That's what I have to say.
Thanks. Latonya?
Would this program start once we get on VSO, not before?
I think in the event that this is approved by town meeting, we would, I think the broader point that many folks have made here, take our time to make sure that we set up the system, solicit managers for work, and have a communication plan out in place before we would consider starting. I couldn't imagine this starting earlier than November 1st, because that would be the work year annually. Anyways, it would be November 1st to October 31st. The reason for that being when the Board of Assessors would have to certify the work and for payment as the date on for payment as a credit on the fourth quarter tax bill.
Okay.
Miles, can I ask one more question? Following along with the tutoring at the schools, would they be able to like teach a program at the center? Would that?
If the general law would only prohibit work that's already be done by full-time employees, I don't see why managers couldn't be creative about how they got around this. If you have the right volunteer and the right opportunity for work.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, Miles, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your feedback. I've got a few questions that I owe to you all. I'm gonna send those to Tanya to send back out. I don't anticipate any changes to our current schedule, which means the select board will likely be hearing me talk about this and then discussing amongst themselves 2 Tuesdays from now on the 25th. You're all more than welcome to attend. It won't be a public hearing, but they'll probably be deliberating about it just for your situational awareness. And should everything go okay, you'll hopefully see this on the special town meeting warrant committee. Again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you all. And,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I don't know if anybody would be interested in going to the select board meeting, see what the reaction is from them.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks,
2 weeks from
25th. Yes.
March.
February.
February.
I, of course, will be in Paris, so
Oh,
I.
nice.
Maybe you could do it on Zoom.
I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
and-
The time factor, I don't. think.
Yeah, 2 in the morning. That's what you want to
She's
do.
very dedicated. but-
Yeah, please.
And I may have to go to Florida.
Oh, yeah. So if anybody is interested, that would be fine. I'm not asking anybody to go. You know, it's probably that we're gonna have the exact same, he'll do the same presentation. The only interest I would have would be the reaction from the select board, but I know Ted has already talked about talking to both the
Kevin Keenan, Josh.
Kevin Keating, so 2 of the select board members, so I'm sure whatever their reaction, he'll be able to report back to us on that.
February 25th, do we know what time of the day yet?
It usually starts at 7.
7?
But I don't know, yeah, but I don't know what time they will be on the program, but,
Okay.
okay. All right, one of the things I talked to Latanya about before everybody got here was we get the director's report, and on that, we always have what our staff has been doing, what the social workers have been doing, what the programming is, et cetera. And we wind up just talking about the same thing that's on the, that in the written form. So I was hoping to try, we'll try it and see how it goes. Instead of everybody going back over everything that they've already told us, I would just ask the staff, especially Latanya and Jess and Aisha, if there's anything new or anything on the report that they might want to reiterate or expand on, or anything new that is not there. I don't know how the staff feels about it, if they're all right with it, or if they'd rather just continue to read off what we've already read.
I have stuff, but I don't have to go first.
Well, you can go
Go
for it.
ahead.
Since nobody else is saying anything, go for it.
So I thank you all. It's nice to see everybody from Walpole, Mass. I assuming, but not sure, that a lot of you know that we are starting to go back to the payment series that we did before COVID.
I sent out a notice on that.
Prior to COVID, we charged for a 2-month series for each program for which we charged. And we had raised it to $8 per class. Then COVID happened, everybody was getting everything for free. Then we were done with that. So we lowered the price to $5, and it was to pay by class because so many people weren't initially coming back. So it seemed sort of cruel that they were still uncomfortable about coming to there to charge for a 2-month series. We have tried everything in our power to get people to pay. They're not paying. Some are. It's getting a little better, but we decided to go back to 2-month series at $5 per class. Where I cherish our front desk volunteers because they're already putting up with a lot. We told them to send them right back to us and we can explain it. People are having a hard time understanding why, and we tell them we still have to pay the instructors. Even if you decide not to show, if you were going to go to a private entity to take a jazz class, you would have to pay for the class period, the class amount of time. You rarely find a place that just charges you per one class. So we're taking feedback. I'm taking notes. One idea today was if we could just do it per month instead of 2 months, which I thought about. We also started today, I started last night, doing comparisons. And we're still relatively inexpensive compared to adult ed in Needham, private entities. We are cheaper than some other aging services departments. Most of them are still continuing with day by day. So that's our story. The good news is we're crazy busy. We've got great new programming coming up. I believe we've added like 15 new programs Latanya, do you have it right in front of you? I can pull it up, but I was pretty proud of the number of swipes we had for one of the slowest months historically, and I believe I've got it right here, Latanya. And you have to remember, not everybody swipes in. It's one of our things that we work on all the time. And I was gonna make you guess, but that's no fun. The total swipes for January was 27,089.99. And that's our whole team. I mean, that includes Shine, that includes social work. I don't know. We have a hard time sometimes, like Shine, you guys are so crazy busy, but a lot of people don't have their cards for Shine. So maybe when we do the open house next year, I was thinking maybe we could have everybody that's like comes here for Shine, come on in and register for a card and you'll get a like something. But I was pretty happy with a slow, cold winter, and it's been so cold in January that our numbers are still that high. So if anybody has any questions for me, I'm happy to take them.
No.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to add or?
Yeah, I'll just highlight
Expand.
two things, one which didn't make it into this report. I mean, most of it's still steady. We're very busy, but Jess Rice, one of our social workers, has launched a new program that's coming out in this compass. It's called Community Connections, kind of inspired off the day of service that the Exchange Club has done for us, where community members are paired with older adults in the community to kind of help with one-off tasks or even companionship. So we also used to have a friendly visitor program where we match volunteers with people in the community and they would visit regularly. We're finding, I don't know the name of it or something about it, people aren't signing up for it, but people do need someone to change a light bulb sometimes, or, take out their air conditioner at the end of the summer, things like that. So Jess has been doing an amazing job developing kind of a new protocol and curriculum and recruiting volunteers for it. And then we've had our first match, I think this week, and we got an amazing email from the recipient. A gentleman went over and did some like kind of small odds and ends around the house. And the family was so happy, the gentleman was so happy. So we're trying to see if that can help neighbors meet neighbors and help people with, the one-offs that they need to be able to stay in their home. So we're really just starting to promote it, and we'll be recruiting for more volunteers for it as well. So we're really excited about that. Stay tuned for how that goes. And the other thing is, you all know we work with Springwell a lot in a lot of different ways. They've offered to come in and do a training for our staff about, it's a big organization, and I know they do so much. So they're coming in to do a training for staff, and we've opened it up to volunteers. And if any board members want to come, just to learn about the different programs they have and how we can, make best use of them. So that training will be on February 26th. If it's open, if anyone wants to come. Everything else is in the report.
What time?
Could I just say
I think
something?
it's 10.
When I was talking over here and I asked about home health aid, if
Yeah.
they could be home health aides, change the name home health aid. How about a handyman? Like you were talking about people who just need somebody to come in, take the air conditioner out, change the light bulbs and stuff like that.
Yeah, we could see if this could.
Could you do something like that, and could they fit into this program?
There certainly are volunteers. We just have to check with Miles if it could be work done outside of town buildings, because
right.
these volunteers are going into people's homes. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly a new volunteer base, so.
And the
It's a
other
great
thing
idea.
I know, having served in that group,
Yeah,
the exchange is going to be doing their service project twice a year.
yeah,
now, so
yeah,
that
which is
should
great.
help also,
Yeah. I mean, the feedback to that program is so wonderful. And we have a lot of volunteers from that program that still
Right.
help their person. So
Right.
that's what we thought, we're always getting these one-off calls that like, we as social workers can't do, but why not, have a neighbor meet a neighbor and help. So,
Right.
yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Latanya?
Nothing to add, but I wanted to let you know that for the community dinner in March, will be March 20th. And I will need some volunteers who wanted me to let you know about needing volunteers. And I also wanted to say a big thank you for those that volunteered during the Black History event, and I really appreciated it. And for me, I'm still continuing the monthly directors meeting. A lot of stuff is going on, talking about funding, supporting each other's, with enrollment, attendance within their own centers. Every center is different. So it's been great just to get feedback from the directors of their challenges. Yeah, that's it.
What time is the
5?
5:30, I think.
5:30? Yeah.
I just want to give a big shout out to that Black
History Month dinner was fantastic. Yeah.
It's a team effort.
It's been great. I don't know where you found the singers, the performers, but they were New York quality. It was just terrific. Thank you.
There was another good one today too, about the Cotton Club.
I know,
That was great too.
Yeah.
And then the luncheon was wonderful, everything.
And we have karaoke. Long time waiting for it. I can't wait to do it.
We can't wait to hear you say it.
Yeah. That video better be sent to the board.
Shine, I didn't forget you, I promise. So would you like to fill us in on what's happening with Shine, which I know is always totally busy,
Yes,
especially now?
we're doing well. We are busy. Again, we're working out currently about 3 weeks for Shine appointments, which is pretty decent for us for this time of year. So there's definitely still a significant demand. Otherwise, in terms of most of my updates in the board report, but I just wanted to let you know, currently, as you may know, we are a federally grant-funded program. Some of our funding comes from the federal government under the Department of Health and Human Services. Some of our funding this year comes from the state of Massachusetts, and obviously significant support from the town of Needham. So we are business as usual for right now, but should anything shift with our funding or our program, we'll definitely keep Latanya and the board updated with any changes there. But we are continuing business as usual for right now.
Okay, great, thank you. Any questions, Jeff? Thank you. My report. I was at a district meeting for, I keep mentioning the Exchange Club, I'm sorry, but I'm very low. So I was at a district meeting and they were talking about, they were giving out prize for certain clubs that had started new projects. And one of the projects that was started was rides for seniors for fun. So they get, it goes through the Council on Aging. And it's if you'd like to go to a movie, or if you want to go out for dinner, or one of them, they said that they use it to go to the laundromat because they don't have a laundromat near them. But it was a very, very interesting program, and one that we talked about as not fully with the Exchange, but the people that were at this meeting. Something that maybe we would like to think about would tie in basically still with transportation, which would be under your jurisdiction, Aisha, where you have, and it will work similar to our rides for the doctor's appointment and so on, but it would be done by volunteers, which there's a whole concept and I got some emails out to the people that were running the program to at least give me a little better understanding, but I thought it would be maybe something really great to start here, because as we know, when we have things in the evening, it's very difficult for people, especially in the winter time. You know, to even to get here, let alone to go out and do something with a friend for lunch for dinner, lunch for dinner. Lunch, you know, with some friends or something like that. I just thought it was a nice concept, and it gave people something, you know, else to do and look forward to. So it's something that I would like to investigate and maybe bring back for discussion here at some point.
I love that
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, I think if you, especially because you can make it like an evening thing even, so maybe you have different
Absolutely.
volunteers, because they can't do days, so they don't even think about it.
Right.
But, oh, I can swing by there, I can swing by them after work, and I can,
Right.
I mean, I had a friend who's has a bad concussion, but she's like, you know, I really wanted to see Christmas lights. We're in Wellesley, so I drove her around.
Right,
and,
yeah,
You know, it was beautiful, and it's just so much fun to see all the lights and stuff, but.
yeah. It
you know, just little things like that.
it just gives our seniors just another something to look forward to, and if they can't get here during the day for some reason or whatever it is, so, anyway, if no one has a problem, I'm gonna investigate that a little bit more, because obviously there's funding, unless it's strictly, you know, done on a volunteer program, so I'll find out more from them and get back to
The
everybody.
evening events don't conflict with doctors.
Right, right. True. So, other than that, I don't really have anything. Ted, you wanna give us anything further than what you had already?
We didn't meet in January, I would have made the comment back then, but I will make it now. December 14th, last year, we had the Wreaths Across America.
Mm.
Good event, a lot of participation, different departments. I was there as part of the VFW, I was on the rifle team. Interesting part, a little bit of depressing part, is when we put the weapons up to fire, we see the United States flag at the top of the flagpole, all torn up on the edges. Horrible. So I turned around and thought about it, and then I says, well, it'll probably continue that way unless somebody says something, because I guess nobody, whoever is responsible for the keeper of the graves wasn't there that day. So I called up, I sent an email to the Kevin Keane, the select board person, and very receptive, very nice person. Yeah, he's gonna follow up on it. I guess when he found out the town didn't have any flags that they had to buy some. Finally, they did, and eventually we got a new flag up there. So next year or this year, at the end of the year, it won't be torn to shreds. It'll still be in good shape. And the other one I want to mention, our joint meeting with the Exchange Club. For those of you who were there, you know what it was like. For those of you who weren't, exceptional event. Again, it happens annually. Our Voice of Democracy, VFW Voice of Democracy and Patriots Pen Awards are made to the students, the essays that they present. We usually have a state representative pass awards as well. He was there, Josh Tarski, that's our new state rep. He lives here in Needham. He's also a member of the VFW. We got him to sign up. So hopefully we'll see him maybe driving the vehicle during our 4th of July parade or something, somewhere.
Yeah.
But looking forward to that as well. And the other shout out I wanted to say to our member here, Kate. I mean, I mentioned it a little bit that night, but I will say it again. Kudos to you, compliments to you for your help that you did at the post, putting up the decorations. Makes it a lot more appealing. I know you had your, and I mentioned this too, they had the picture was in the paper. Okay? But I will extend it from my side as well as the VFW. So congrats and great job. Looking forward to see you there at other times
At
as
all
well.
events, yes.
The other one that I will end with is up and coming next March, this coming March, March 29th is our National Vietnam War Veterans Day. And just like usually, like we do every year, we have a ceremony at Cefalo Road, which is the Vietnam Memorial, War Memorial there. So that'll usually take place during the morning hours, and then after that, they have a little gathering at the VFW itself. But at the moment, that's about the three different topics that wanted to pass along. Thank you.
I just want to add to what he said, that the two students that won, both the high
First
school
place.
student and the middle school student, their essays were unbelievable, absolutely so moving and so thought provoking. It was just amazing what they did.
Not only that, but the way that the young lady read it and presented
I know,
it,
yeah,
made you think that she was in the media somewhere for about 40 years.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what happens to them at this level and then it goes on to the
It goes to
state?
the district picks somebody, and the district sends, I went to the state event that they have a few weeks ago in Westboro, Mass, at the hotel, and they have students for Voice of Democracy and Patriots Pen that are from different posts, the top students, they were there, and then they turn around and they have the awards there as they are presented, but they pick the top winner in each category, that person, just like it was a couple of years ago, Matt Ching's son won here in Needham.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And then the winners there go to Washington DC and compete with one from every state in the US, plus there's some foreign countries that the VFW has, programs. And there they choose them. Top prize, I think, is $35,000 scholarship.
Wow.
But they do give different levels all the way from the first. They do all 50 states, so somebody from every state wins. And I think Matt Ching's son, I think he was in 15th place out of 50.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
He couldn't
Yeah.
apply again. He's gotta wait a few years.
right, yeah,
His older brother could apply.
Right, yeah,
And he
yeah.
got second.
yeah, right.
So, yeah, it's a great event.
It was just.
And it's open to, it's open to
Everyone.
everybody.
How did
that
they
has-
hear about it?
Well, usually it's announced, our chaplain from the Post sends a notice to all the schools, and then it's also in the local paper. But, plus,
Facebook too.
plus it's by word of mouth, and, people
Yeah.
know your grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and you don't even have to be in the town. You can have somebody here, or somebody from Connecticut can
Yeah.
turn it into the Needham Post,
Right, yeah,
as long as it
Yeah.
gets into a VFW Post, yeah.
well, they were fantastic, and
Yeah.
I also with Kate, I happened to be sitting with Kate, and she does go beyond the call of duty when it comes to this program, so, thank you.
I love the VFW
Yeah.
and all their veterans. I love it.
Okay, the approval of the minutes of December 12th. As you know, we didn't have a January meeting, so we need to approve those minutes. Is there is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Thank you,
I'll second it.
thank you. Is there any corrections, additions, deletions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I did. I'm watching that. I wouldn't quit. Okay, Beverly, friends, anything that you'd like to chat with us about?
Sure. We have two events coming up. The first is March 7th, and that's going to be at 12:30, and it's our staff luncheon. So we're really looking forward to that, and we're going to have Paneras cater that. So, and Ann and I are picking out the menu next week.
Thank you.
And then seeing how that goes, on April 14th at 12:30, we're doing our volunteer lunch. So all of you are invited to that. And we were thinking about having it catered by the Linden Street Cafe in Wellesley. But then as Ann and I were talking, we're gonna see how the Panera's lunch goes. And
Did
then
something just happen with them, like they were bought out, or
Oh.
be careful with the check on that?
Okay.
I read something
Oh.
about them, just
All
Double
right.
check before you.
What was interesting, I think, didn't Fiona die?
Something happened,
Oh,
yeah.
So just, well,
Check.
okay, thank you for the advice. Will do.
It's
And-
permanently closed.
Oh, it is.
That's what it says online.
Yeah, I thought I
Oh,
read
well.
something quickly.
guess what?
I
guess
guess-
we're
But I don't know,
doing
maybe
today.
that's, maybe that's wrong, I
Yeah.
don't know, then it says it's okay, but at the
Okay.
top it says that.
What I say, check.
So just make sure it's, maybe it's open now, maybe they closed for a little bit.
But this is a volunteer group, so we are, we are part of
You're
that.
all invited.
Right.
So we're invited to that one.
Right,
You can come.
March 14th, so that's April 14th. And the other item that we did at our last meeting, and it's still being edited, was to revise our policy for donations to the boutique. That was last written in 2023, and as I was looking through it, I thought, oh, this is not current anymore. So we had some good feedback, and once it's finalized, I'll make sure you get a copy.
Thank you, yeah.
So
sounds
that it
good.
can go into the boutique and so that the volunteers are aware. And lastly, I really need to thank Helen Gregory. Marvelous, picking up Panera's day end donations.
Kudos to you for setting it up. You do it every week,
But
so
now,
we're a team.
we are a team, we're a good team. So she's responsible for Wednesday night pickup and Thursday morning drop off. So both
It's
Walter
fun.
and I
It's fun.
appreciate it. Yeah.
It's
It's great.
really an amazing, you told us week after, or month after month, you'd give us the update, and you were so dogged. and
Yeah.
You made it happen, Bev, so
I
it's
think
great.
Colleen knows that. And Latanya, I was
Right.
not gonna give up.
Right.
I knew we had to get that bread somehow.
It is great, it is really.
So if
People-
anybody
people
wants
love
their
it.
car to
Yeah.
smell like a bakery.
You're right.
You can always pick it up at night, and by morning, you're gonna have a lovely odor in your car.
And it's for the CAF, it's for the seniors. So on Tuesday morning and on Thursday morning, the kitchen staff, so that would be, well, even Eustil has helped out, but Jamie and Tom Watson, they pack it all up and they'll put it on a table in the cafe. So if you're around at, I don't know, 9 o'clock or 9:30, feel free.
If you really want to be there at 9.
Yeah. If you want a good selection.
Right,
You'll have a better choice.
right, right.
So, thank you all.
Thank you both, people love it.
Right, it's really,
Uh,
great.
From there?
Yeah, from the donations of Panera Bread.
Right.
And I just learned about Yahweh from a program here that had to do with a volunteer group who are restoring and bringing back to life. They're uncovering the bodies that, in the gravestones that were buried. And, I'm not doing justice
I
to
was
it.
gonna say, how does that relate to my Yahweh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I
they
read that, that was
go
good.
to Bialystok. I think I'm pronouncing
Yeah,
it
you're right.
correctly.
It's in
Which
Belarus.
is in, yes, was Poland, I think, at the time. And there were terrible genocides.
Oh, wow.
Part of the, the genocide movement. I'm confusing that with the Armenian genocide, what they call the Jewish,
The Holocaust.
the Holocaust, sorry. But, that is what it had to do. I learned about the hours at that program, and I had my first hours from
Yeah, I don't even know.
All of
what
it,
it
No, I
is.
know.
me either. I have
Like a
to
bagel,
find
but
out.
it's got a hole in the middle. And, you know, where a bagel has a hole
Yeah.
all the way through it, but the olive is solid on the bottom and has a indentation in the middle.
Yeah, it
And then
has
they put some spices
or
or something there.
something. But all of this in
You
the,
have to check it out.
yeah.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay.
I'm gonna have to get a
That it?
picture.
That's it.
Okay, thanks, Bev. Is there any old business? New business? Oh, we do have an observer or whatever. And we would like to know if you're here for a reason or just
Oh.
because you can't wait to sit with us.
Well, actually, I wanted to thank you guys for all that you do for the town, but I actually came here to learn and I was gonna reach out. So I'm actually at a company called Oakley Home Access, and we were here yesterday to do a fall prevention. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of attendees, conflicted with bingo, so.
Oh,
So
yeah.
anyways, I just want you to know, I'm actually here to learn a little bit. I was gonna actually maybe reach out to Jess a little bit later, but what I'm trying to say is, what our company does is, you know, this isn't a sales pitch or anything like that. We actually go into, elderly people's homes, people that have physical challenges, disabled homes, and we do a home evaluation safety review. And we're a Needham-based company. It's similar to, I sort of describe it as like Mass Safe. We go in, we do a pictures, we literally hand a full analysis to someone and say, these are some of the things that, you know, you should consider for safety and things like that, for showers or bars. And we just found that, you know, it helps a lot of the community that may not leave their homes because it takes a long time to get out of the house and things like that. So I was just trying to see how I could let some of the members of the community know that there is this opportunity. We go in, we again hand you this evaluation. You can choose to work with us. You can choose to not do anything. You can choose to maybe hire someone else. But the whole intent is really to help people out. And that was it. And I was just here to maybe find out who I could talk to about letting people know that we're here, we're Needham based. And quite frankly, the gentleman who opened the office the need is amazing. He's been so busy, he's asked me to come on and help, and I just felt we're both Needham and really see what we could do in the community. So anyways, thank you.
Thank you. And I have asked you a question, is the assessments right? The
Oh,
evaluation?
yeah, that's exactly what we do. We can go in, these are, first of all, we have 3 occupational therapists on call. We're certified aging in place specialists. And we go in and we just look at what could be done to the home. And then, like you said, you can either choose to, we have a team that will do the installs. You could choose to hire someone else, or you could choose to not do anything, but you'll have a full analysis. And I just think it's amazing the work that's been done, the changes to people's lives to be able to move a little bit, and quite frankly, to stop falls and things like that. You know, post rehabs and sort of, you know, you go home, you slip, you fall. Those are the things that, and anyways, I'm just proud to be with this company. They do a lot of good things, and it's not, there's no sales on it if you choose to use this. And then one of the other things I wanted to learn from this is maybe ways that there's funding available to some of, you know, more funding that could help individuals afford some of these things.
We really appreciate you coming and talking, letting us know what you do and everything. We're really very careful about promoting
And that's why
companies
you'd want to be.
because we never want something to happen to one of our seniors through us, you know, mentioning a company or something like that, and then it reflects back on us. So,
And I
just
respect that. I wasn't trying to, I was more informational.
I think what you're doing is great, and you know, the availability of having that done, and not being charged for it until you want something further is great, but I just wanted you to know that.
Thank you.
But I think it's good to have your resource available without promoting it, because oftentimes seniors come and ask, you know, someone who can do this.
Right.
Or someone who
If,
can
if,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And,
Because if,
I think
right,
it's.
in working with Jess, I mean, it's something that she could have avail,
You
you
can
know.
connect about,
Yeah.
yeah, we always love to learn about the
Right.
resources in town and, yeah, as,
Thank you. And again,
yeah.
I'm just thankful for all you, what you guys do. I know
Thank
it's a
you.
lot. I'm impressed. That was more informational, so thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Anything else? There a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So,
Second?
second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? You are finished. Thank you.
No, I'm here to learn a lot more about how to get